Welcome back to Mik'd Up. We are brought to you by Sterling Automotive. We're going to take a little bit of break of this live stream reactions of the LSU game, which I probably need because I'm a little stressed out. I am extremely pumped to talk about my next guest because I've been watching the NBA Finals. If you've played 2K, you know who this girl is. She is awesome. We were both partners with Caesars, and so I can't thank Caesars enough for getting her on here. Our next guest is Rachel Demita. Rachel, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry I interrupted the baseball game.
No, I needed the break for sure. Talk to me about the NBA Finals. We've seen kind of a tale of two games, right? Like obviously, I put money on the Warriors to win the first game. I thought for sure no way Celtics go coast to coast, win the first game in Golden State. Obviously, you had people making three-pointers that are not normally used to making threes and scoring the points they did. The script kind of got flipped the second game, and Golden State kind of did what they did, shut them down defensively. What have you seen, and what are something that you expect to see moving forward?
Well, I feel like I had the same sentiment as you in game one. I feel like, okay, what were the Warriors up 12 points in the fourth quarter? And I was like, oh, this is game, home court. They're up 12, fourth quarter. Like, they're good. Went and did some laundry or something. Just, stepped away from the TV. And I come back 5 minutes later. Wait a second. I'm, doing a double take because the Celtics were up 6 or something at that point. And I actually thought that I was losing my mind. Anyway, I don't think any of us were expecting the outcome of that game one. I had the Warriors taking the finals, and I predicted that early in May. So I'm full on bragging rights here because I need this predict workout just for my followers.
Yeah.
But
now,
then,
did you predict them?
two,
Did you predict them in 6 or 7?
No, she had him in 5, Coach.
Oh, you've been stalking her.
No, I do. This is called pre-show research. Yeah,
I'm joking. I wasn't meaning it in a creepy way. I'm just joking.
So actually, last series I had them. Did I say 4 or 5? Whatever I said, I was right. I think 4, right?
I think you have them
5.
winning the finals in 5. Yes.
Yeah. No, finals I didn't predict.
Oh, this was
last series. Last series was
Lloyd, stop
this was
confusing.
Sorry.
No, it's not you.
know.
It's my producer. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Just he's just ignore him.
No. I did say Warriors in 5 for the series before this. I'm going to say Warriors in 6 for this series because I do think Boston is tough. And like we saw in game one, they've been really resilient and they've kind of kept that throughout this entire season. So I think that they're going to give them some problems. But game 2, I was not impressed at all for the first half. And I think even into the third quarter, I just felt like both teams were really all ace and nobody was really in rhythm. It wasn't fun basketball to watch, which I feel like both these teams are fun to watch. And then obviously the Warriors kind of ran away with it. So I see them taking at least one in Boston as well. They've been here before. I don't think that they're easily rattled by the game one, whatever that was. And we actually interviewed Andre Iguodala on NBA Spaces and asked him about that. We were like, were you surprised kind of what Boston threw at you guys in the fourth quarter? And he's like, nah, this is nothing that we haven't seen before. So I feel like just overall, they have experience in the finals, and they'll be fine.
And that's what I was going to ask. That's what I was going to ask you. Do you value the experience? Obviously, I would. As a former athlete and someone who's been around postseason, but you value the experience of people who have been in that situation before. Do you value that, or is that something that you think when you get to this point in the season, that doesn't really matter?
Oh, I absolutely value that, but the Celtics are not a team, although they haven't had finals reigns. They're not a super young team either. There's a lot of guys who know how to take care of business. So I'm not necessarily calling them this young team who's going to be shell-shocked being in the finals, but I think there is something. You have experience going down 2-1 and going into hostile environments and playing on the biggest stage. And just these guys' chemistry together, you have to think about that as well. I don't know how many games it is, but I think it's 6 finals that Steph, Clay, Draymond, and Iguodala have played together. It's you can't really there's no other way to emulate that than by doing it together. And even when we were talking to Iggy as well, talked about because he's been out for a lot of the season, coming back, like what he felt the chemistry was like. Yeah, it might take me a little bit to get back into rhythm on the court, but I still know where all the guys are at, and they have a great chemistry off the court as well, from what I've been told. So like those types of things are really hard to emulate, even if you're just a really good team. So I'm not saying Boston can't do it, and I'm actually really glad that they are in the finals. I think Boston or Miami would have been really fun to see because they're just exciting teams. But Miami, I don't think would have stood a chance against the Warriors. But nothing against them. I just don't know if they have what it takes
the
to
offensive
take
firepower
the series,
kind of, right?
Yeah. Question.
Yeah.
So, like, as through 2 games, we've basically seen it. I mean, honestly, it's been 7 quarters for the Warriors, and really Boston's played well for 1 quarter, really, honestly.
Yeah.
Do you see the magic of home
True.
court advantage kind of flipping the script a little bit once this game goes back to Boston?
Not totally, because Boston, I think they're like 9-3 on the road or something. Like they have a really good. They do well on the road. I think even better than they do sometimes at home. And again, it's not new for the Warriors. So maybe a little bit, but I don't think it's enough to say like, oh, Boston's gonna win 2 games at home just because they're at home.
I know
that makes sense. Also, you guys.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry.
Go,
Just one
go
more
ahead.
thing. Did you watch Tatum holding his shoulder for most of the game last game? I think I'd be more worried about that than anything.
No doubt.
That's just
That was gonna be my next question. Is you picked Golden State to win, right? Obviously, I have Golden State winning. I think that they do win. If Boston has a chance to win, right? If they were to win and to upset the favorite, what do they have to do, in your opinion, to win? That's a tough question, I know.
They have to be. It's a really question. I just think they have to be really consistent the whole game. Like you can't really have plays off.
Right.
You can't have defensive plays off. And a lot of the other guys are going to have to get involved. Tatum's going to have to also do everything. He's going to have to score, and he's going to have to get the assists that he's been getting as well. But you can't have Horford having a great game in game 1 and then scoring 2 points in game 2. You know what I mean? So I think consistency across the board for them is probably going to be what they need. And then, some luck that Steph and Clay and some of those guys don't hit as many threes as they're capable of. No, like never say never. We could see them come out with a whole new game plan, and they could surprise us. You never know.
Wait, you mentioned Al Horford and the way he's played. Where has this Al Horford renaissance come from? Like I thought this man had 2 feet in the grave. He was dead and buried, and now he's the Celtics' almost most important scorer. You would expect it to be Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but the Celtics have always gone as how Al Horford goes, who I thought was retired 2 years ago.
Yeah. I don't know. And maybe specifically, though, in the finals, I mean, you saw his reaction when they did make the finals and how emotional he was. I mean, he might know that this might be his last finals.
Right.
He's on the same team with Corey Brewer and Joakim Noah. They're both out the league for the last 10 years.
Right. So that, you know what I mean? So I don't know, maybe it's just like pure grit and dedication and the good old saying of leaving everything you have on the court because you never know what game could be your last. I don't know.
So
maybe that's just it.
we were both partners with Caesars, and we bet a lot on the show, and we talk about betting a lot on the show. So I wanted to get your basketball insight, but I also do want to say this: last game, Draymond technical foul 2 minutes into the game, right? Referee comes out after the game and says he probably should have had technical number 2 ejected. They said there's no way we can do that early in the game. I mean, that's a little bit like, you think they got someone greasing their pockets a little bit? Like, that's not – I mean, if it's a technical foul, it's a technical foul. I understand why.
Donaghy's out of jail.
Hey, I don't
back.
know. No, I understand why you don't do it because of, like, you don't want to take one of their best players out. But, like, if he deserves to get the double tech, like the second tech, he should do it, right?
So who is that ref they always have on as, like, their expert, when there's a play under review?
Steve Javi.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So he came on and legit said the same thing because I think it was I don't know who the commentators are. Sorry, I'm
no, it's okay.
losing all of my train of thought. But the commentators came on and basically said the same thing that you said. They said, okay, Draymond already has one tech. If he gets this one, he's out. Is this something that goes through the ref's mind, like because you guys already know? And the guy who came on, that expert, said absolutely. So I don't necessarily think it's fair. I also think Draymond was not very smart because his first tech that he got away with like a massive.
He always gets away with murder on the
foul
basketball court.
before
that's,
that.
That's the thing is like you would think someone with that much experience and being in the playoffs that much, and I get it, it's his personality, but like, dude, you've got to just say, I'm gonna hold off and I'm not gonna do that.
I think it's safe to say when Draymond gets on the court and they tip it off, his mouth is. There's no more smarts in his mouth. He don't care.
He gets away with more than anybody in the league. It's unbelievable. The only time he ever got caught was when the Cavs came back from 3-1. It's because he kicked LeBron in the nuts. Like, you have to call that.
I think there's this weird polarization about Draymond as well. Like, some people love him who are Warriors fans and not Warriors fans, and you hear even some of the people in the media saying that he's the glue that makes this team and sticks them together and makes this team better. And then there's other people that are like, what are you doing? Like, just calm down. So
what does Chuck call him, a triple single?
I don't know.
Is that what Chuck calls him, a triple single?
I think it's safe to say you either hate Draymond or you absolutely love him. Like, there's really no in between with him.
Well, I think he was trying to get back to he wants to get back to the locker room so he can start his podcast. Like, he's got
he's already got a deal in place for after to work on TNT. But hey, he's gonna try. He wins another ring. Like, I think they do win. You said that they win. I agree with you. Do you think that it goes all the way to 7 games, or do you think that Boston can go and win a game in Boston, or do you think that the Warriors just kind of run away with it?
I think it's 6.
Okay.
I would love 7 games, as I think all NBA fans would. I don't know if it goes 7 though. And part of that is because I've seen how Tatum is kind of like, he couldn't hide it in that game. There were so many times that he's just like going like this. And I know that there's not an official injury report about what's going on, but we saw what happened during that Heat series. Right. So I don't know, just that you have to, in game 2, they are both teams tired. Yeah. So I don't necessarily see it going 7. And then this is, again, when you get tired, it goes back to your experience and how you're able to, adapt to that. I think all these guys are super gritty and they're going to leave it out there. But yeah, I don't know. I see it going 6.
Yep. All right. I'm taking the Warriors. I'm taking the Warriors every game. So if I lose money, it's on you. Okay.
Yeah.
Warriors catching 3.5.
I'm taking that.
3.5 on the road. Back to Beantown.
Switching gears a little bit, obviously we had you on for the basketball insight, but I think a lot of people who have played NBA 2K are familiar with you, right? Because that's kind of where everybody's seen you and kind of known you from. How did that happen? Like, what led to that? How did that kind of come about? Because I think that's a pretty cool deal, And so I just, some people just always talk about sports.
She has her own jump shot in the game.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like. Well, I was not very good at 2K. I got my ass beat all the time.
Honestly, I'm not that good at 2K.
The guy sitting on the other side of me, Jared, used to beat my ass all the time.
That didn't mean I was any good, though. Let's be honest.
I was just that bad.
I was only decent at 2K because I'm a ball player, so I know where to be on the court and what players can do certain things. So it was only because of my IQ. But some of these people spend 40, 60 hours a week on the game. And anyway, how I got involved with NBA 2K. So I went to school for broadcast journalism and performing arts and always knew I wanted to get into the hosting space. I thought I was going to go kind of more in the entertainment route after my basketball career because just quite frankly, I was burned out from basketball in general.
I feel that.
And then, so I was in Los Angeles and kind of found my way back into basketball, and I started on YouTube, and so I was a creator there back in 2013 before it was kind of a normal thing. And 2K actually saw the videos that I was doing with a lot of these different, like Adidas with Ball is Life, with Hoop Mixtape, a lot of these other YouTube creators, and they saw some of my interviews they were doing with high school athletes and then some of the pro athletes, and they reached out saying, we're doing this crazy idea. We're putting a TV show in our game. And I was like, great. And they're like, we would like you to audition. And so I did, and I auditioned and had a couple meetings, and then I was actually the first person they hired as a part of that production.
That's
so
awesome. That's
yeah,
what
it
we're
was
trying to do
cool.
over
I
here.
mean,
We're trying to
first
grow our
episode-
YouTube channel. We're trying to get to the next step, and that's kind of what, we're on the same page. Now, obviously, we're a little
You're a
different.
pioneer and an inspiration.
Yeah, we're a little different though. We have a show.
thank
You're
you.
you're doing it like kind of on your own a little bit. So that's a pretty cool track and pretty cool situation. So
Yeah, I feel like like I said, I went to school for broadcast journalism, and so I learned how to host and be a reporter as if you were doing it for the news, because that's kind of all we learned in school. And then when I got to the YouTube space and I started getting jobs there, the YouTube community was ripping me to shreds because they're like, why does she talk like sounds like a news reporter? She's so weird, this and that. Because I was just like,
Right.
talking how I learned
Right.
doing the different fluctuations and making it so
Yeah.
serious. And so I quickly learned how to like host in a new way almost. I was taking their criticism and trying to open up a little bit more so that people felt comfortable when they were watching my videos or watching whatever show that I was doing. But keeping the professionalism and what I learned in script writing and editing and those types. And so I feel lucky to be kind of like thrown off the deep end and be kind of ridiculed for.
and that's kind of
how I sounded in the beginning.
that comes with. I mean, you're an athlete, so you understand that. But I think that's the beauty of digital media is everybody has a platform, and you don't have to be as like buttoned up and as professional, quote unquote, as we used to have to be in the past. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but being an athlete and having to go through the other side of the interviews, that has to help you in your career now, as far as like understanding how to approach interviews and how to ask questions, and like, hey, if I was getting asked this question, how would I respond to it? At least that's helped me in this side of it.
Yeah. And I think too, I'm not starstruck by anyone really.
Right,
I
that's
mean,
good.
okay, maybe Kobe and maybe Allen Iverson. Those are the only two that I've been like, oh my gosh.
And that's fair.
But other than that, yeah. But other than that, it's like they're just people. We've been athletes, we've been around athletes. I was always around like the guys' basketball team when I was growing up. So I don't really like, I get that they're incredible at what they do and that's something to be admired, but I don't go in there kind of having them on this pedestal at a place that it's not just me talking to one of my friends. And I love sharing the best side of people. So that's kind of always what I'm after with any show that I've done. It's never kind of been a gotcha moment or trying to just get that clickbait piece that somebody later will watch my interview or watch my show and be like, well, why did I talk to her? Now I'm,
Right.
she made me look bad or she cut this up or
Right.
so that's, I don't know. That's kind of how I like to talk to athletes. And then as you can as well, you can relate to the grind behind it. I played the highest level before going pro. And so a lot of it I understand, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll never understand with an NBA player what it's like to play an 82 game series and travel around the world and have, 20,000 in the arena and whatnot. But I know what that grind and that work is like getting to there, and I can really respect that also.
Yeah, it's hard to have that, it's hard to relate to that if you haven't been through it. So I completely understand that.
For sure.
Rachel,
Wait! I have to tell you something.
Oh,
or
no.
ask you something.
Oh no, okay.
This is kind of messed up. No, it's kind of messed up. But
Oh,
did
no.
you see,
I
did you
said you
see
don't
that
do
clip
gotcha
that-
journalism.
Oh no.
It's not. No, it's not about you at all.
Okay.
And whoever was stalking my Twitter, you guys would seen it. Max Kellerman had this shot that's like on Twitter right now. He took a free throw, and man, it's
Oh
like
my God,
some
it's
of the worst
terrible.
form I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's.
It
You
was
can.
so bad. But then you.
Rachel,
everybody's
he
eating
has to
alive,
lose
like,
his basketball
you're the
card.
one who's criticizing. Yeah, bro, that was bad.
Well, you
He
can-
should not have let anybody everybody should have had to turn their phones in a black box.
You can tell who has played a sport by the way they do something, and they don't have to be great at it. But you can if you've ever shot a basketball, you have decent form, and if you don't, then hey, just don't put that out there because now you.
I'm about to say, what do you think is going through his mind the entire
time?
time? Where he's like, oh, this is not good. I should probably not do this.
He didn't put it out there. Somebody was filming him behind him and just uploaded
no.
He got
it. So
snuffed.
I don't
That's
think
not
he
being.
wanted
Hey,
out
that
there.
would be awareness would be a 40 on 2K. On
Gotta
that
be a
one.
little more savvy on that.
Yeah,
thing.
that's no awareness on that. No doubt. I mean, if I had someone, if somebody couldn't, if like people criticize us as baseball players, like acting like baseball is extremely hard, and the guy's throwing 100 miles an hour to try to hit this baseball and you swing and miss, like. Go out there and you go. If you haven't played, you go and try to swing a baseball bat and see what happens. Like it's and if you can't, just don't show me that you can't, because then you really lose all credibility when you don't do it. But
You know what I really want to do? I want to play in that celebrity softball. You know, the one that they do at all.
for the
the
All-Star
All-Star
game.
game, All-Star
I'm sure
game.
you could get. I'm sure Caesars could hook you
I
up
was
with
gonna say, I
that.
would
Rachel,
imagine
that's easy money.
that
for
would be
you. That's
very
easy
easy to
work.
do.
We gotta
Yeah,
get
man.
you some. We gotta get you some lessons though. I'm sure. I mean, you're an athlete, so you're gonna catch
no,
on quick.
I played softball growing up.
Oh, there you
There
go.
we go.
There you go.
MVP.
You're in there.
What
Yeah.
position? What position?
I was
Fairfield.
third.
Third
I
base.
was
That's
third
nice.
base,
A hot
yeah.
corner.
Yes.
Which is terrifying in
Yeah.
softball.
Oh, yeah. Especially in softball, because you're right on top of the plate.
Because you're up close.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the reason I played third, though, was because when I first started, I had a really good arm. My nickname is Rockets. My family calls me because my arm was really fast.
Okay.
And I, knocked out my first baseman on my 11-year-old softball team. So I had to move to first base, and then when I finally got to, travel softball and, the better teams, then I could move to third because I was one of the ones who could, make that accurate throw. But, yeah.
So what happened? Why didn't
I
you?
hurt
Why
somebody
did
my first-
softball? Why did softball not become a thing? You just
They
basketball
kicked you out
was
the
your
lead
first
for having too strong
yeah,
of an
you're
arm.
hurting the first baseman
you're
too many
killing
times.
people out there.
No, honestly, I was naturally way better at softball than I was at basketball. I was terrible naturally at basketball. But when you're a kid, you just do the sport that you want, that you like the best, you know? And then when I got to high school, it was softball season was during travel basketball season,
Right,
and then
right, yeah.
indoor softball, because I grew up in Ohio, was during
Yeah.
regular basketball season. So it just kind of didn't work out, and so I gave that up and I ran track and played basketball.
That'll
But
do it.
I
yep.
still love it. And we got mitts during quarantine and bats, and we're just kind of messing around, and we go to the park and throw, and
We need to get you. We need to get you in
I
that
don't know.
game. We
Anyway,
need to get you in
that'd
that
be so
game.
much
We need to
fun.
get
We
her,
can look.
dude,
I'm gonna-
Marucci.
we'll-
Put her with Marucci.
We
Get her.
need. I'll talk to Marucci. I will see if we can make that happen. We'll talk to Marucci and Caesars, and we'll figure this thing out.
We got to see that arm on display.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
That
would
arm's got to be on display.
I
I need
for
to
the
see the
world
homers.
Bring the rocket out of
forever
retirement.
in debt to you guys.
We're gonna make that happen for you. We're gonna do that. I'm gonna start making some calls.
Amazing.
Yeah, Rachel,
Listen, I would appreciate that so much.
I appreciate you. This is awesome. Thanks Caesars for getting you on. If something crazy happens in the postseason or in the finals, and if the Warriors don't win, I've got to get you back on here, and we need to talk it through and see what the deal is.
Dang, I might lose some TikTok followers if they
It's
don't.
okay.
But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, have me on for sure.
all right,
go with the rest of the baseball game too.
I
LSU.
appreciate we need it.
Yeah, rally shot time for the
Yeah,
Tigers.
he already opened up a bottle, so
I'm sure you heard it.
yeah. Look,
Oh,
she's
there we
drinking
go.
it. There you go.
Go.
Cheers. Rachel, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your week or start of your week, and we'll have you on again soon.
Clink.
Appreciate it. Thank you
All right.
guys. Have
Of
a
course. Have a good one.
good. All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.